The email was meant for his mistress, not his wife. When Marcus forgot to log out of his account on our shared iPad that morning, I wasn't supposed to see the intimate photos he'd sent Emily, his brother's wife. But there they were, along with detailed plans for their upcoming business trip to Miami. I'm Rachel Chen, and this is how I exposed my husband's affair in front of his entire family at the event he least expected, his parents' 40th wedding anniversary celebration. The irony of finding out about their affair. Well, before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. While planning the perfect anniversary party for his parents wasn't lost on me. The iPad dinged with another email notification as I sat at our kitchen counter, surrounded by party decoration samples. "Can't wait to hold you again," Emily wrote. "Rachel's so busy with the anniversary planning, she'll never suspect a thing. Sometimes I think she loves being the perfect daughter-in-law more than being a wife." My hands didn't shake. My coffee remained steady as I took another sip. 5 years of marriage, and I'd never once checked Marcus's emails until he left his account open, practically inviting the truth to emerge. As I scrolled through months of exchanges between them, one detail caught my eye. They'd been using the family business meetings as their cover for Hotel Rendezvous. The same family business where I'd worked alongside them both for the past 3 years, earning my position while Emily coasted on her status as the other daughter-in-law. "Morning, beautiful," Marcus's voice startled me. He walked into the kitchen, straightening his designer tie, the one I'd given him for our last anniversary. "You're up early. Still working on Mom and Dad's party?" I smiled, closing the iPad. "Always so much to plan. Your mother deserves perfect." I stood up, smoothing my robe. "Oh, by the way, are you still going to that business meeting in Miami next week?" "Yeah, can't skip it. Big client." He kissed my cheek, grabbing his coffee. "Emily's handling the presentations." "I'm sure she is," I murmured, watching him check his phone. My own phone buzzed, a message from Sarah, Marcus's sister, and the only other person who'd ever voiced doubts about Emily's devotion to her brother James. "Coffee later," Sarah's text read. "Need to talk about the anniversary party." "Perfect timing," I typed back. Because while Marcus thought he was orchestrating the perfect affair, he had no idea I was about to orchestrate something far more memorable for his parents' anniversary celebration. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served in front of 50 of your closest family members. My hands moved methodically through the morning routine, fixing breakfast, checking emails, playing the role of the devoted wife. But inside, my mind raced through every suspicious late night, every urgent business meeting, every time Emily had smiled at me with false sympathy when I mentioned Marcus's increasing absences. "You work too hard," she'd say during family dinners, her hand casually resting near Marcus's on the table. "Men need attention, Rachel. They wander when they feel neglected." All while her husband James, Marcus's brother, focused on his phone, oblivious to the betrayal happening right in front of him. The cafe where Sarah waited was quiet for a Tuesday morning. Marcus's sister sat in her usual corner booth, 2 steaming lattes already on the table. Her face, so similar to her brother's, lit up when she saw me, then fell as she registered my expression. "Okay, Spill," she said as I slid into the booth. "What's wrong? And don't say nothing. I've known you too long." I pulled out my phone, showing her screenshots I'd taken of the emails. Sarah's perfectly manicured hands shook as she scrolled through them, her face growing darker with each swipe. "That bitch," she whispered finally. "I knew it. I knew something was off about her. All those business trips with Marcus, the way she always manages to be wherever he is." She looked up at me. "Does James know?" "Not yet." I took a sip of my latte. "No one knows except you. What are you going to do? You have to tell James, or confront Marcus, or I'm going to do something better." I leaned forward. But I need your help. Sarah's eyes narrowed. I'm listening. Your parents' anniversary party. Everyone will be there. The whole family, all their friends, the entire board of directors. Marcus and Emily think they're so clever, using family events as cover for their affair. A small smile played at my lips. Let's give them an event they'll never forget. Rachel. Sarah hesitated. Are you sure? This could blow up the whole family. They blew up the family the moment they started sleeping together. I'm just making sure everyone sees the explosion. My phone buzzed. Marcus checking in about dinner plans. Such a thoughtful husband, always letting me know his schedule. I texted back that I'd be working late on the anniversary preparations. His response came quickly. You're the best, babe. Don't know what I'd do without you. Apparently sleep with my sister-in-law, I muttered, showing Sarah the exchange. She shook her head. The audacity. But Rachel, if you're going to do this, you need to be smart. Emily's not just James's wife. She's also Dad's favorite marketing director. She's got the board wrapped around her finger. Had them wrapped around her finger, I corrected, pulling out my iPad again. Look at these expense reports she's been submitting. All those business meetings with Marcus? They've been billing the company for their little rendezvous. 5-star hotels, champagne dinners, weekend conferences that never existed. Sarah's eyes widened. How did you get these? I'm the one who processes the expense reports, remember? Emily's been so busy playing footsie with my husband, she forgot who actually runs the accounting department. I scrolled through more documents. And that's not all. Remember that big marketing campaign she got so much credit for last quarter? The one that landed her that bonus? Sarah nodded. She stole it. The entire concept, all the materials. They were submitted by a junior designer who mysteriously got fired a week later. I found the original pitches buried in the company server. Holy shit, Sarah breathed. Does Dad know? Not yet. But he will, along with everyone else at the party. I pulled out a small USB drive. Everything's here. The affair, the fraud, the stolen work. All ready for the anniversary slideshow you're preparing. The slideshow? Sarah's eyes lit up with understanding. The one Mom requested, with all the family photos and memories. Exactly. Emily and Marcus think they're so careful, but they've left quite a digital trail. Photos, messages, hotel receipts. All those business trips documented in perfect detail. I took another sip of my latte. Your parents wanted a presentation about family loyalty and dedication. I say we give them one they'll never forget. Sarah was quiet for a moment, turning the USB drive over in her hands. James is going to be devastated. Yes, I agreed softly. But better he knows now than waste more years being deceived. They're planning another trip next week, Miami. Probably would have kept this going forever if Marcus hadn't gotten sloppy with his email. What about the company? This could cause chaos. Maybe it needs some chaos. A little house cleaning. I straightened in my seat. Besides, I'm not just doing this for revenge. James deserves to know the truth. Your parents deserve to know what kind of people they're trusting with their legacy. Sarah pocketed the USB drive. Okay, I'm in. But we need to be careful about how we do this. The timing has to be perfect. Leave that to me. I've got 2 weeks to finalize the arrangements. I checked my watch. Speaking of which, I have a lunch. Meeting with your mother about the catering. How can you act so normal around them? Sarah asked. I'd want to scream every time I saw them together. I stood, gathering my things. Because the best revenge takes patience. Marcus and Emily think I'm too busy planning the perfect anniversary party to notice their affair. I smiled. They have no idea I'm planning something much more memorable. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed again. A message from Emily. Hey, need to discuss the anniversary party menu. Lunch tomorrow? Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. I typed back, "Sorry, busy with work, but I'm sure you and Marcus can handle it during your Miami trip next week." 3. Dots appeared as she typed, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "What do you mean?" "Oh," I replied. "Didn't Marcus tell you? He mentioned you were handling the presentations. Must have assumed you were going too. My mistake." A long pause. Then, "Right, must have gotten the dates mixed up." I smiled, slipping my phone into my purse. Let them squirm, wondering if they'd gotten sloppy, if they'd left too many clues. Let them spend the next 2 weeks looking over their shoulders, second-guessing every interaction, because while they were busy covering their tracks, I'd be preparing for a very special kind of anniversary celebration. One that would show everyone exactly what happens when you underestimate the woman you're betraying. My phone rang. Marcus again. "Hey babe, can you look over some expense reports for me? Can't seem to find the Miami trip receipts." "Of course, honey," I answered, my voice sweet as poison. "You know me. I'm always happy to help keep things organized." I ended the call, catching my reflection in the car window. The woman staring back wasn't a victim. She was a ticking time bomb, wrapped in a perfectly coordinated outfit, watching the countdown to detonation. 2 weeks, 14 days until the anniversary party that would change everything. Marcus and Emily thought they were living their own private love story. They had no idea they were actually characters in my revenge plot, and I was about to give them the plot twist of a lifetime. The next morning, I arrived at the office early, my heels clicking against the marble floors of the Chen International headquarters. The family business that Marcus's father had built from the ground up now occupied the top 10 floors of a gleaming downtown skyscraper. A testament to hard work and family values, or so the company brochures claimed. James was already at his desk in the marketing department, absorbed in his computer screen. My brother-in-law looked tired, his usually crisp shirt slightly wrinkled. Emily's desk across from his was empty. She'd texted the team about working from home today. I wondered if she was actually at the Riverside Hotel, her usual meeting. "Spot with Marcus." "Morning, Rachel," James called out, managing a smile. "Thanks for handling those expense reports. Emily mentioned you've been a huge help." I forced myself to smile back, guilt twisting in my stomach. "Just doing my job. Everything okay? You look tired." He ran a hand through his hair. "Yeah, just..." "Emily's been distant lately, probably stressed about work. She's been having a lot of late meetings." "Has she?" I kept my voice neutral, setting a coffee on his desk. "Here, you look like you need this. You're the best sister-in-law ever," he said, taking a grateful sip. "Don't know what this family would do without you." The irony made my heart ache. I hurried to my office in the finance department, needing a moment to compose myself. Through my glass walls, I could see Marcus's office across the atrium. He was on the phone, gesturing animatedly. Probably not a business call. His tie was loose, feet up on the desk, that secret smile playing on his lips. My computer pinged with an email notification. Emily, copying me on a forwarded chain about the Miami client meeting, making sure I saw the official cover story for their upcoming tryst. I opened my own email and began typing. "Dear Mr. Harrison, I hope this email finds you well. I'm following up on your invitation to present at the Miami Business Forum next week. Unfortunately, we'll have to decline." I copied Marcus and Emily's supervisors, as well as the event organizers. Let them try to explain why they still needed that hotel reservation when the conference they were supposedly attending had been declined weeks ago. A knock at my door made me look up. Lisa from HR stood there, looking nervous. "Rachel, do you have a minute? It's about some concerning patterns I've noticed in the expense reports." I gestured for her to sit. "Close the door," Lisa pulled out a folder, spreading documents across my desk. These hotel charges, restaurant bills, they're all authorized, but something feels off. The same two employees, always traveling together, always choosing the most expensive options. Marcus. And Emily, I said quietly. Lisa's eyes widened. You know? I know everything. I pulled out my own folder, and I've been gathering evidence. For the next hour, Lisa walked me through every suspicious transaction she'd flagged. Identical room service orders at different hotels, spa treatments, charged as client entertainment, weekend trips disguised as training seminars. I didn't want to cause trouble, Lisa admitted. They're both so high up in the company and with the family connections. You did the right thing bringing this to me. I handed her a copy of my documentation. Keep this somewhere safe. You might need it soon. After Lisa left, I sat back in my chair, processing. The web of deception was larger than I'd imagined. It wasn't just an affair. It was systematic fraud, abuse of company resources, manipulation of multiple departments to cover their tracks. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Dad's office, now. Emergency family meeting about the anniversary. Party. Perfect. Time to set another part of my plan in motion. The Chen family conference room was intimidating by design. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city, while a massive table of polished mahogany dominated the space. Marcus's father, Richard Chen, sat at the head, his wife Helen beside him. Marcus and Emily were already there, carefully seated on opposite sides of the table. James looked up from his phone as I entered, giving me a distracted smile. Rachel, excellent, Richard boomed. We need your financial insight. Emily has proposed some elaborate additions to the anniversary celebration. Emily beamed, launching into a presentation about expanded catering, additional entertainment, doubled flower arrangements. Each suggestion more expensive than the last. Marcus nodded along supportively, while James frowned at the mounting costs. It's a lot of money, James said finally. Maybe we should scale back. Money isn't everything, honey, Emily cut in. Richard and Helen deserve the best. Right, Marcus? I watched Marcus agree, knowing he'd already helped Emily submit fake invoices to cover their Miami hotel booking. My fingers itched to expose them right there, but patience was key. Let them dig their hole deeper. Actually, I spoke up, I've been working on a special surprise element for the party. Sarah and I thought a multimedia presentation would be meaningful. Photos, videos, special moments from the past 40 years. Oh, how lovely, Helen clasped, her hands together. Richard, remember all those old family videos in the basement? I'd be happy to help gather materials, Emily offered quickly. Too quickly. I'm sure there are some photos that might not be appropriate for public viewing. Don't worry, I smiled. I'll make sure everything included is very illuminating. Marcus caught my eye, frowning slightly at my word choice. I held his gaze until he looked away first. The meeting continued, with Emily pushing for more extravagant additions while I quietly took notes. Each time she suggested something outrageous, I approved it with a smile. Let her think she was winning. Let her pile on more expenses, more evidence of her financial recklessness. After the meeting, Marcus caught up with me in the hallway. Hey, about Miami next week. Already taken care of, I assured him. I responded to the conference organizers this morning. You... what? Declined the invitation. Turns out they'd double-booked the keynote slot. I patted his arm. Don't worry, I'm sure you and Emily can reschedule your presentations. The color drained from his face. Rachel, Better hurry. I nodded toward his office where Emily was hovering anxiously. Looks like you have another meeting. I walked away, feeling their panicked stares on my back. In my office, I found another email from Lisa in HR, this one containing employee complaints about Emily's behavior. Allegations of bullying, credit stealing, manipulation of junior staff. The pieces are coming together nicely, I murmured, adding the documents to my growing file. My phone buzzed, James asking if I wanted to grab lunch. For a moment, guilt threatened to overwhelm me. Then I remembered the look on his face this morning, talking about Emily's distance. He deserved to know the truth. They all did. I texted back, "Can't today. Anniversary party preparations? Let Marcus and Emily have a few more lunches, a few more stolen moments. Their time was running out, and they didn't even know it, because, while they thought they were managing a careful deception, they were actually performing in a play I was directing, and in 2 weeks, the curtain would rise on the final act." The Wei Dynasty, an upscale Chinese restaurant owned by Richard's college friend, was empty except for one corner table where Helen Chen sat waiting for me. My mother-in-law had requested this private lunch to discuss the anniversary party, but something in her voice during the phone call suggested more. "Rachel, darling." Helen stood to embrace me, her signature Chanel perfume enveloping me. "Thank you for making time. I know how busy you've been with all the preparations." I settled into my seat, noting the 2 martinis already on the table. Helen Chen never ordered drinks before business discussions unless something was weighing on her mind. "Is everything all right, Helen? You sounded concerned on the phone?" She took a deliberate sip of her martini, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against the glass. "You know, I was the company's CFO before I married Richard. Everyone forgets that now. They just see the devoted wife, the social coordinator, the family matriarch. I remember," I said carefully, "you revolutionized the company's financial systems, created the framework we still use today." "Yes." Her eyes sharp as ever fixed on mine, which is why I notice things, like unusual expense patterns, private meetings that don't align with our client calendar, a certain tension in the office. My heart raced, but I kept my expression neutral. "What exactly are you saying, Helen?" "I'm saying," she set down her glass, "that my son and my other daughter-in-law think they're being clever. They think no one sees what's happening right under our noses." The restaurant seemed suddenly airless. "How long have you known?" "Long? Enough." Helen's voice hardened. "But I needed proof before I acted. You've been gathering it, haven't you?" I reached for my bag, pulled out a thin folder. "See for yourself." For the next 20 minutes, Helen reviewed the evidence in silence, the expense reports, the falsified meetings, the hotel receipts. Her face grew stonier with each document. "The anniversary party," she said finally. "That's when you plan to expose this?" "Yes, unless you think—" "No." Helen closed the folder decisively. "Your timing is perfect, but you'll need help ensuring everything goes exactly as planned. The Chen family likes to think they control this city's business world, but they forget about my side of the family." She pulled out her phone, scrolling through contacts. "My sister Victoria sits on the boards of 3 major banks. My cousin Andrew owns the biggest media outlet in the state. And my brother Michael? Well, let's just say he specializes in making or breaking reputations." "Helen, I never meant to involve—" "They involved the whole family the moment they started this affair." She reached across the table, gripping my hand. "You're not just my son's wife, Rachel. You're the daughter I never had. The one who actually understands what it means to protect this family's legacy." My throat tight, I squeezed her hand back. "What do you need me to do?" "Keep playing your part. Let them think you're occupied with party planning." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'll handle the rest." Just then, my phone buzzed. Emily again. "Rachel, quick question about the anniversary venue." "Speak of the devil," Helen murmured, reading the message upside down. "She's getting sloppy. Nervous." I showed Helen my response. "In a meeting. Why don't you ask Marcus? He's handling the venue logistics." "Perfect," Helen approved. Keep them second-guessing. My sources tell me they're scrambling to rebook their Miami trip. The conference cancellation hit them hard. That was well played. Helen signaled for the check. But now we need to think bigger. Tell me about this multimedia presentation you're planning. I outlined my idea for the anniversary slideshow, watching Helen's smile grow more predatory with each detail. We'll need to make some additions, she decided. I have videos from every company event, every family gathering, including some interesting footage from last year's holiday party. Emily thought she was so discreet, following Marcus to the terrace. You recorded them? Like I said, dear, I see everything. Helen stood, gathering her things. Come by the house tonight. I have some files you should see. As I watched her sweep out of the restaurant, my phone lit up with another message. James. This time, hey sis, need your advice. Think Emily might be seeing someone. My hands shook slightly as I responded, let's talk soon. I might know something. Helen was right. The time for gathering evidence was over. Now it was time to orchestrate the perfect revelation. That evening, the Chen family mansion was quiet except for the study, where Helen waited with a glass of wine and a laptop. Security footage, email archives, phone records. She'd been documenting everything for months. I didn't know who to trust, she admitted, showing me years of archived surveillance. But when I saw you starting to investigate, I knew we'd work well together. Does Richard suspect anything? Richard sees what he wants to see. He thinks Emily walks on water, the perfect daughter-in-law who dedicates herself to the company. Helen's laugh was bitter. He'll learn the truth soon enough. We all make mistakes in judging character. The real test is how we handle the correction. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, asking about dinner plans. Next to it, another message from Sarah about finalizing the anniversary slideshow. Go home, Helen advised. Keep up appearances. I'll have everything ready for the presentation by tomorrow, as I drove home. I thought about James's message, about Helen's years of silent observation, about all the people Emily and Marcus had fooled, or thought they had fooled. The house was dark when I arrived. A note on the kitchen counter in Marcus's handwriting. Working late, don't wait up. I poured myself a glass of wine and opened my laptop. Time to start organizing Helen's evidence, weaving it into the anniversary presentation that would shatter their carefully constructed lies. My phone lit up one last time. Emily. About Miami. Can we talk? Privately? Of course, I replied. After all, we're family. Let her stew over that response. Let her wonder if I knew, if Helen knew, if anyone knew. The queen of manipulation was about to learn what real strategic thinking looked like. Because while Marcus and Emily thought they were playing chess, they hadn't realized they were actually pieces on someone else's board. And in this game, the mother-in-law and the scorned wife were calling checkmate. The morning sun filtered through the blinds of my home office as I sorted through Helen's files. Each document, each video clip, each financial record added another layer to the mountain of evidence. But it wasn't just about proving the affair anymore. It was about exposing a pattern of deception that ran through every aspect of the company. Richard's face grew darker with each revelation. How long? He demanded. How long has this been happening in my company? Our company, Helen corrected firmly. And long enough. The question now is, what are we going to do about it? James spoke, up for the first time, his voice raw. The anniversary party. That's why you've been so involved in the planning, isn't it, Rachel? You're going to expose them. We're going to expose them, I corrected. All of us, together. Unless anyone objects. Richard stood abruptly, pacing the room. My son. And Emily. In my own company. Our company, Helen repeated, stronger this time. And they didn't just betray their spouses, Richard. They betrayed everything we built, everything we stand for. My phone lit up with a message from Marcus. Where are you? Been trying to reach you. Then Emily. James isn't answering his phone. Is he with you? Let them worry, Helen advised, seeing the messages. Tomorrow we finish gathering everything, and in 3 days, at the anniversary party, we show everyone exactly who they really are, James finished, a new hardness in his voice. As I drove home later, I thought about Marcus and Emily, probably together somewhere, thinking they'd gotten away with another secret meeting. They had no idea that their world was about to implode. Not just their marriages, but their careers, their reputations, everything they'd schemed to protect. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't just exposing the truth, it's making sure everyone sees it at exactly the right moment. 3 days before the anniversary party, I walked into the Chen International morning meeting like any other day. The conference room was packed, department heads, senior management, and of course Marcus and Emily seated strategically far apart, maintaining their careful facade of professional distance. James sat next to me, dark circles under his eyes, betraying his sleepless night, but his spine was straight, shoulders set. We'd spent hours going over the final evidence with Helen, preparing for this moment. The first domino that would start the cascade. Richard Chen stood at the head of the table, Helen beside him, her face a masterpiece of controlled emotion. Before we begin our regular agenda, she announced, there's an urgent matter we need to address. Emily shifted in her seat, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against her tablet. Marcus loosened his tie slightly, that nervous tell again. Our internal audit has uncovered some concerning irregularities, I began, sliding folders across the table. Specifically regarding expense reports, client meetings, and resource allocation within certain departments. The color drained from Emily's face as she opened her folder. Marcus grabbed his so quickly he nearly knocked over his coffee. As CFO, I continued, my voice steady, it's my duty to report that we've found evidence of systematic fraud, falsified meeting records, inflated expense reports, and misuse of company resources for personal activities. This is ridiculous. Emily stood up, her chair scraping loudly. These allegations are completely documented, Helen cut in smoothly. Every hotel booking, every fake client meeting, every dollar spent on your private rendezvous. Would you like us to show the receipts, Emily? Or should we start with the security footage? Marcus's eyes darted between me and his mother, realization dawning. Mom, this isn't... Sit down, Marcus. Richard's voice cracked like a whip. Both of you. This is just the beginning. I pulled up the presentation screen, displaying a timeline of their deception. The Grove Hotel, March 15th. The Anderson account breakfast meeting that never happened. The Miami conference that was canceled weeks ago, yet somehow still required a luxury suite booking. Rachel. Marcus tried again, reaching for my hand across the table. Honey, let me explain. Don't touch me. My voice could have frozen hell. And don't bother explaining. We have emails, phone records, everything. Emily's composure cracked. James, please, save it, James snapped, standing. I've seen it all. Every lie, every secret meeting, every time you made me feel crazy for suspecting something was wrong. The room had gone deathly quiet. Other executives stared at their folders, unable to look away from the evidence, but unwilling to meet anyone's eyes. Effective immediately, Richard announced, his voice heavy with authority. Emily Chen is suspended from all company duties pending a full investigation. Marcus, he turned to his son, disappointment etched in every line of his face. You'll report directly to the board until further notice. You can't do this, Emily's voice rose hysterically. I built the marketing department. I brought in half our major clients. Did you? I clicked to the next slide. Or did you steal those ideas from junior employees who mysteriously got fired? When they complained, Lisa, would you like to share HR's findings? Lisa stood, pulling out her own stack of documents. We have 17 formal complaints about workplace harassment, idea theft, and professional intimidation, all suppressed through threats and manipulation. This is a witch hunt, Marcus protested, but his voice wavered. No, son. Helen's voice was ice. This is consequences. Did you really think you could fool everyone forever? That no one would notice your little game? I turned to the rest of the stunned executives. A full audit report has been prepared for the board. You'll find copies in your emails, along with supporting documentation. We recommend reviewing it before the emergency board meeting this afternoon. Emergency board meeting? Emily's perfectly applied makeup couldn't hide her panic now. You can't what? James asked quietly. Hold you accountable? Expose your lies? Watch your perfect little world fall apart? Security appeared at the door. Helen's timing was impeccable as always. Please escort Ms. Chen and Mr. Chen to their offices. They can collect their personal belongings under supervision. As they were let out, Emily turned back, her face contorted with rage. This isn't over, Rachel. You have no idea what I can do. Actually, I smiled, holding up my phone. I do. In fact, I just forwarded a very interesting email thread to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. They're particularly interested in those offshore accounts you thought were so well hidden. The door closed on her shocked face. The room erupted in whispers and hurried phone calls as executives rushed to distance themselves from the scandal. Helen touched my arm gently. Well done, but remember, this is just phase 1. I nodded. The real show is still to come. Later, in my office, I watched through my glass walls as Marcus and Emily were escorted out of the building, boxes of belongings in their arms. My phone buzzed continuously with messages from family members, colleagues, even reporters who'd somehow caught wind of the morning's events. Sarah appeared in my doorway, grinning. Just went through the final cut of the anniversary video. Still. Want to add that last segment? Absolutely. I turned away from the window. They think this morning was bad? Wait until they see what we have planned for the party. Because while Marcus and Emily had just lost their jobs, they still had their delusions. They still thought they could salvage their reputations, explain away their actions, maintain their standing in society. But in 3 days, at the anniversary celebration they'd helped plan so enthusiastically, they'd learn the true meaning of exposure. Today was just business. Saturday would be personal. The next morning, my inbox was flooded with emails. News of Marcus and Emily's suspension had spread through the company like wildfire, spawning endless speculation and whispered conversations in every corner of the office. I sat in my newly upgraded corner office. Helen's suggestion to move me to the executive floor had been immediately approved by Richard, sorting through the chaos they'd left behind. Financial records, client contacts, project files, everything needed to be reviewed for signs of their deception. You've got visitors, Sarah announced from my doorway. And trust me, you want to hear this. 2 women entered behind her. I recognized them immediately. Jessica Torres, the junior designer who'd been fired after confronting Emily about stolen concepts, and Michelle Chung, a former account executive who'd mysteriously resigned last year. We saw the news, Jessica said, clutching a portfolio. About Emily and Marcus. About the investigation. And we have more, Michelle added, placing a USB drive on my desk. So much more. For the next hour, they laid out a pattern of behavior that went far beyond what we'd already uncovered. Emily hadn't just stolen ideas. She'd systematically pushed out anyone she saw as a threat, using Marcus's position to back her plays. She made it look like I was incompetent, Michelle explained, her hands shaking slightly. Said I was mishandling the Peterson account, but really she wanted it for herself. And Marcus, he supported every accusation. The night I was fired, Jessica continued, I found them in the office, together. They laughed when I threatened to expose them, Said no one would believe me over the CEO's son and his sister-in-law. Sarah, who'd been taking notes, looked up sharply. We need to add this to the presentation. Agreed. I turned to the women. Would you be willing to go on record? Make official statements? They exchanged glances. Will it make a difference? Jessica asked. They still have connections, influence. Not for long, I promised. The anniversary party is in 2 days. Trust me, they won't have any influence left after that. My phone buzzed. James asking to meet for lunch. The cafeteria was buzzing with gossip when we arrived, conversations suspiciously quieting as we passed. Emily's been calling nonstop, he said once we were seated. Begging me to talk to Dad, to you. Says it's all a misunderstanding. And what do you think? He pushed his food around his plate. I think I was an idiot. All those signs, all those excuses. I wanted so badly to believe her. You weren't an idiot, I said softly. You were trusting. There's a difference. Marcus keeps texting too. Says he can explain everything. James looked up, his eyes hard. When are we showing them the video? During Richard and Helen's anniversary. Tribute. Right after the formal dinner when everyone's there. Family, friends, business associates. No escape, no excuses. They'll try to stop it. They can try. I smiled. But Helen's got it covered. Indeed, Helen had thought of everything. Security was doubled at the venue. The audio-visual system was under lock and key. Every guest had been carefully vetted. No +1s allowed. No last-minute additions to the list. Back in my office, I found an email from Marcus's lawyer threatening legal action for defamation. I forwarded it to Helen's brother Michael, the family's legal expert. His response was immediate. Let them try. I've got enough evidence to bury them for decades. My phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. Emily, haven't you done enough? She spat when I answered. You've ruined everything. No, Emily, you did that yourself. You and Marcus. We can make a deal. Her voice turned wheedling. Whatever you want, money, position, influence, just stop this now. You still don't get it, do you? I kept my voice calm. This isn't about deals or negotiations. This is about justice. Justice, she laughed bitterly. You self-righteous bitch. You think you're so perfect, so professional. But you're just jealous because Marcus found something better. Better. I clicked through the files Jessica and Michelle had brought. Is that what you call destroying people's careers? Stealing their work? Using company money to fund your affair? Those people were weak. They didn't deserve. Save it for the board, I cut her off. Oh, and Emily, don't forget to check your email. The FBI has some questions about those offshore transfers. I hung up as Sarah entered with more files. You'll want to see this. Remember that charity gala Emily organized last year? Turns out, half the donated funds never made it to the actual charities. Let me guess, diverted to shell companies? Bingo. She spread out bank statements, the same ones they used to book their little love nests. My computer pinged with an email from Helen. Dinner at the house tonight. Bring everything we have. Time to prepare for the final act. As I gathered my things to leave, Lisa appeared, with one last bombshell. The IT team finished recovering Emily's deleted emails. You won't believe what they found. She was right. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen the evidence with my own eyes. The depth of their deception, the casual cruelty of their schemes, the lives they'd ruined for their own gratification. Add it to the presentation, I decided. Every last detail. Because in less than 48 hours, Marcus and Emily would learn the true cost of their actions. They thought the company's suspension was bad. They had no idea what was coming. The anniversary party wouldn't just expose their affair. It would reveal every lie, every manipulation, every person they'd stepped on during their climb to the top. And they'd have to watch it all unfold in front of everyone they'd ever tried to impress. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just about exposing the truth. It's about making sure the truth destroys everything they worked so hard to build. The day before the anniversary party dawned with a storm of desperate attempts from Marcus and Emily. Their carefully constructed world was crumbling, and they were frantically trying to hold the pieces together. First came the legal threats, a barrage of emails from high-powered attorneys warning of defamation suits, cease and desist orders, and promises of severe consequences if we proceeded with our plans. Helen's brother Michael handled each one with ruthless efficiency, responding with evidence packets that quickly silenced their legal teams. 3 law firms have dropped them since yesterday, Michael reported during our morning conference call. Turns out even sharks don't want to defend the indefensible. Then came the emotional manipulation. Marcus showed up at the house while I was gathering my things for work, his eyes red, claiming sleepless nights and desperate regret. "Rachel, please," he begged from the doorway, his usual polished appearance noticeably disheveled. "We can work this out. Couples therapy, time apart, whatever you want. Just don't do this." "Do what, Marcus? Tell the truth? Show everyone who you really are?" "I made a mistake." He stepped forward, but my raised hand stopped him. "People have affairs, it happens, but destroying our lives, our careers, you destroyed those yourself," I cut in coldly. "Every time you lied, every time you stole, every time you helped Emily ruin someone's career to cover your tracks. The affair? That's just the beginning." "What are you talking about? Jessica Torres, Michelle Chang, ring any bells? Or were they just more casualties in your grand romance?" The color drained from his face. "How did you—" They came forward. All of them. Every person you and Emily stepped on. Funny how people find their courage when they see their abusers finally facing consequences. My phone buzzed. Emily, again. Her 7th attempt to reach me that morning. This time she'd switched tactics, sending a long message about family loyalty and the importance of forgiveness. "Really?" I showed Marcus the text. "She's lecturing about family loyalty?" "She's desperate," he admitted. "We both are. Rachel, think about what this will do to the company, to Dad's reputation." "Oh, now you care about the company?" I laughed bitterly. "Where was that concern when you were embezzling funds? When you were using corporate resources to fund your affair? When you were helping Emily steal other people's work?" A car pulled into the driveway. James, right on schedule. Marcus's face fell as his brother approached, diplomatic papers in hand. "Time to go, Marcus," James said firmly. "Unless you want to explain to the FBI about those offshore accounts in person?" After Marcus left, James handed me a thick envelope. Emily's latest attempt. Promises to resign quietly, move away, never contact anyone in the family again, if we cancel tomorrow's presentation. Too late. I added the envelope to our growing file of evidence. The truth doesn't come with a negotiation option. At the office, the tension was electric. News of Marcus and Emily's suspension had evolved into rumors about criminal investigations, whispers about federal agents reviewing company records. Lisa brought hourly updates of more employees coming forward with stories of manipulation and abuse. "They're like dominoes," she observed. Once the first few spoke up, everyone found their voice. Sarah burst into my office mid-afternoon, her face flushed with excitement. "You need to see this. Now." She pulled up an email chain on my computer, messages between Emily and various board members, sent over the last 24 hours. Desperate attempts to secure allies, each one met with polite but firm rejections. "She's trying to rally support," Sarah explained, "claiming we're conducting a witch hunt, that it's all a misunderstanding. But look at the responses." Each reply was a variation on the same theme. Evidence speaks louder than excuses. The board had seen the proof, and they weren't interested in Emily's version of events. My phone lit up with a call from Helen. "They're getting desperate," she said without preamble. Emily just tried to meet with your father-in-law directly. Security turned her away. How did Richard take it? He's processing. Seeing the full extent of their betrayal has been difficult for him, but he's committed to seeing this through. Another email popped up, this one from Marcus's personal account, addressed to the entire company. A long, rambling attempt at damage control, claiming misunderstandings and promising explanations. Let them thrash, Helen advised when I mentioned it. Every desperate attempt just proves their guilt. Are we ready for tomorrow? I looked at the final version of the presentation, now enhanced with testimony from their victims, financial records, spanning years, and irrefutable evidence of their systematic abuse of power. Everything's in place. The venue's secured, the presentation's locked down, and security's been doubled. Good. Because they'll try something. People like them always do. She was right. By evening, we'd caught Emily trying to access the venue's AV system remotely, while Marcus had attempted to bribe one of the technical staff for access to the presentation files. Amateur hour, Sarah scoffed as we added another layer of security. They really think we didn't plan for this? My phone buzzed one last time before bed. A final message from Emily. You have no idea what you're doing. Tomorrow will be a day everyone remembers, but not the way you think. I forwarded it to Helen, who responded immediately. Security's been notified. Let them try their worst. We're ready. Because while Marcus and Emily were planning last-minute desperate moves, they didn't realize they were already checkmated. Tomorrow wasn't just about exposing an affair. It was about revealing two people's true nature to everyone they'd ever deceived, and we had made very, very sure there would be no escape. The morning of the anniversary party, I woke early to a flurry of last-minute messages. Helen, confirming security arrangements. Sarah, running final checks on the presentation. James, warning me that Emily had spent the night calling every contact. She had desperately searching for leverage, but it was the envelope slipped under my door that caught my attention. Inside, I found photos, old ones from company events, family gatherings, moments that once seemed innocent but now revealed so much. Marcus and Emily, always gravitating toward each other, thinking no one noticed their lingering glances and accidental touches. A note accompanied the photos, written in Helen's elegant hand. Sometimes the best evidence is what was right in front of us all along. The Chen family mansion was already bustling with activity when I arrived. Caterers, decorators, and event staff moved purposefully under Helen's watchful eye, transforming the sprawling property into a celebration venue worthy of a 40-year marriage. Emily tried to contact the catering company, Helen informed me, as I entered. Wanted to make last-minute changes to throw things into chaos. Unfortunately for her, I own the company. Of course you do. I smiled, unsurprised by her thoroughness. Any word from Marcus? Currently at his lawyer's office, trying to find legal grounds to stop the presentation. Michael's keeping him occupied. She checked her phone. Ah, right on schedule. Emily's just arrived at the front gate. Security footage showed Emily, immaculate as ever, attempting to charm her way past the guards. Her designer dress and perfect makeup couldn't hide the desperation in her eyes. Let her in, I decided. It's time we had our talk. Helen raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? Trust me. Emily found me in Richard's study, surrounded by family photos, including several that would feature prominently in tonight's presentation. Really? Rachel? She gestured around the room. All this drama over a few indiscretions? Indiscretions. I turned to face her. Is that what you call destroying people's careers? Stealing their work? Using company money to fund your affair? I made this company what it is. She stepped closer, her carefully controlled facade cracking. While you played perfect wife, I was building client relationships, growing our market share. By stealing other people's ideas? By threatening anyone who got in your way? I pulled out Jessica's portfolio. Remember this? The campaign you claimed as your own after getting her fired? She was weak, ungrateful. I gave her opportunities. You gave her ultimatums. Sleep with Marcus or lose your job. Keep quiet about stolen work or never work in this industry again. Emily's laugh was bitter. Oh, please, don't pretend this is about justice. You're just angry because Marcus chose me. Because I could give him what you couldn't. Excitement, passion, someone who understands ambition. Ambition? I opened my laptop, turning it to show her the financial records. Is that what you call embezzlement? Fraud? Using charity funds? To book hotel rooms for your affair? The color drained from her face. How did you get access to your offshore accounts? Track the money trail? Find every email, every transaction, every piece of evidence you thought you'd hidden so well? I smiled. I'm the CFO, Emily. Numbers don't lie, and yours tell quite a story. What do you want? Her voice shook slightly. Money? Position? Name? Your price. I want you to watch. I pulled up the presentation that would play tonight. I want you to sit there, in front of everyone you've ever lied to, and see yourself exposed. Every scheme, every betrayal, every person you destroyed, thinking you'd never face consequences. You can't. Can't what? Tell the truth? Show everyone who you really are? I stepped closer. You and Marcus thought you were so clever. The perfect affair, hidden in plain sight. But you forgot something crucial. What's that? You're not the only ones who know how to play the long game. The door opened. James stood there, his face hard as he looked at his wife. Security found Marcus trying to access the AV room. He's being escorted off the property. Emily's composure finally shattered. James, please. Whatever she's told you, whatever you think you know, I know everything. He held up his phone, playing a recording of her and Marcus planning their Miami trip. Every lie, every secret, meeting, every time you made me feel crazy for suspecting something was wrong. We can fix this, she pleaded. All of this. Just cancel the presentation. We can all walk away, start fresh. Like Jessica walked away? I cut in. Like Michelle? Like every other person you and Marcus destroyed to protect your secret? Security appeared in the doorway. Helen's timing was impeccable as always. Ms. Chen, you need to leave. Now. This isn't over, Emily hissed as they led her out. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Actually, I held up my phone, showing her one final email. I do. The FBI is very interested in those charity funds you diverted. They'll be here tonight, too. The door closed on her shocked face. James slumped against the wall, years of suspicion and denial finally crystallizing into certainty. You okay? I asked softly. No. He straightened his shoulders. But I will be. After tonight. My phone buzzed, a final desperate message from Marcus. Please don't do this. Think about what it will do to the family. I showed it to James, who laughed bitterly. Now he cares about family? Too late, I typed back. See you tonight. Because in 6 hours, the anniversary celebration would begin. Guests would arrive, champagne would flow, and everyone who'd ever believed Marcus and Emily's lies would gather to witness their perfect facade crumble. They thought the morning's confrontation was bad? They had no idea what was coming. The Chen family mansion glowed in the evening light, transformed into a celebration of 40 years of marriage. Crystal chandeliers sparkled, champagne flowed, and elegantly dressed guests filled the grand ballroom. From my position near the presentation screen, I could see everyone who entered, including Marcus and Emily, arriving separately but equally tense. Quite a turnout, Sarah whispered, joining me at the control panel. Every board member major, client, and family friend. Even those reporters Emily tried to contact, though they're not exactly writing the story she pitched. Helen appeared beside us, resplendent in midnight blue. Everything ready? Presentations locked and loaded. Security's in position. FBI agents are here dressed as guests. I checked my phone. And Richard's about to start his speech. Marcus caught my eye from across the room, making one last attempt to approach. But James smoothly intercepted him. Emily, meanwhile, had positioned herself near the exit, clearly planning an escape route. Richard Chen took the stage, champagne in hand. Welcome, everyone. Helen and I are overwhelmed by your presence here tonight, celebrating 40 years of partnership, both in marriage and in business. The crowd applauded. Helen squeezed my hand, right on cue. Before we begin the evening's entertainment, Richard continued, I'd like to say a few words about family, trust, and legacy. Dad, wait! Marcus suddenly pushed forward. There's something you need to know. Yes, there is. Helen's voice cut through the murmurs. Sarah, start the presentation. The lights dimmed. On the massive screen, photos began to play. Innocent at first. Family gatherings, company events, celebrations. Then the tone shifted. Marcus and Emily, in hotel lobbies, secret meetings caught on security cameras, screenshots of emails planning their rendezvous, financial records showing diverted funds. What is this? Someone gasped as evidence of their fraud filled the screen. Then came the testimonials. Jessica Torres describing how Emily stole her work and Marcus backed the theft. Michelle Chang detailing their threats and manipulation. A parade of former employees revealing the true cost of keeping their secret. Emily made a dash for the door, but found her path blocked by two men who smoothly displayed FBI badges. Marcus stood frozen, watching, his carefully constructed life implode in high definition. As you can see, I stepped onto the stage, my voice carrying through the stunned silence. This evening is about more than just celebrating a marriage. It's about truth, about consequences, about justice. The presentation continued, showing ironclad proof of every accusation, embezzlement, fraud, harassment, the systematic destruction of careers to protect their affair. My son. Richard's voice broke as particularly damning evidence appeared. My own son did this. Not alone, Helen added, her voice steel. Emily, perhaps you'd like to explain the missing charity funds? Or shall we let the federal agents do that? Emily's perfect composure finally shattered. You think you're so clever, don't you? All of you. But you have no idea what this will do to the company. Actually, we do. James stepped forward. That's why the board voted this morning. New leadership, complete transparency, and full restitution to everyone you and Marcus harmed. The crowd erupted in whispers as more revelations appeared on screen. Marcus made one last desperate move. Rachel, please. This is insane. We can work this out. We can what? I turned to face him. Keep lying? Keep destroying lives? Keep pretending you're the victim here? I gestured to the screen. The evidence speaks for itself. The FBI agents moved forward as the final documents appeared, proof of international financial crimes that made their affair seem almost trivial in comparison. Marcus Chen, Emily Chen, one agent announced formally. You're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and misappropriation of charitable funds. The ballroom erupted in chaos. Guests pressed forward, phones recording as Marcus and Emily were led away in handcuffs. Their perfect facade had finally cracked completely, revealing the ugliness beneath. Well, Sarah murmured beside me, I'd say that's a 40th anniversary no one will forget. Helen joined us, watching her son being escorted out. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give a family is the truth, no matter how painful. Richard stood alone by the stage, looking older than I'd ever seen him. James and I approached together, standing on either side of him. I'm sorry, Dad, James said softly, I know this isn't what you wanted for your anniversary. No. Richard straightened his shoulders. But it's what the company needed. What the family needed. He turned to me. Thank you, Rachel, for having the courage to expose this. My phone buzzed one final time, a message from Marcus, somehow, sent before they took him away. I hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. No, I typed back. You did that yourself. I just made sure everyone saw it. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't just exposing the truth. It's making sure that truth destroys everything they valued. Their reputation, their freedom, their carefully constructed lies. As the guests departed, still buzzing with shock and scandal, Helen raised her glass in a private toast. To justice, she said softly, and to the family members who actually deserve the name. The days following the anniversary party unfolded like a carefully orchestrated symphony of consequences. Every morning brought new revelations, each one cementing Marcus and Emily's downfall more firmly than the last. I sat in my expanded corner office, now with a view of the city skyline, reviewing the latest updates. The FBI investigation had uncovered even more than we'd initially found. A web of financial crimes spanning years, all hidden behind their perfect corporate facade. Latest from the prosecutor's office, Sarah announced, striding in with fresh documents. They're both facing multiple felony charges. The evidence is overwhelming. Any word from their lawyers? I asked, though I already knew the answer. 3 more legal firms had dropped them since the arrest. They're trying to cut deals, offering to testify against each other. Sarah's smile was grim. Apparently, true love doesn't survive federal indictments. My phone lit up with a message from James, a link to yet another news article about the scandal. The business world couldn't get enough of the story. Prominent executives arrested at a family anniversary party, their crimes exposed by the very people they'd betrayed. Have you seen Emily's statement? Lisa appeared in the doorway, tablet in hand. She's trying to paint herself as the victim, claims she was manipulated by Marcus. And Marcus? I pulled up his latest legal filing. Blaming her, of course. Says she masterminded everything, used their affair to control him. Lisa shook her head. They're turning on each other like sharks. The intercom buzzed. Helen, requesting my presence in the main conference room. I found her reviewing applications with Richard and James. Jessica Torres, Helen announced as I entered. She's agreed to return as creative director, with a substantial raise and full credit for her previous work. Michelle Chang, too, James added, along with several others who left because of Emily's harassment. They're all coming back, helping us rebuild the departments properly. Richard looked up from the papers, his face showing the strain of recent events, but also a new resolve. The boards approved all the changes we proposed. New oversight committees, transparent reporting structures, enhanced protections for whistleblowers. And the charity division? I asked, thinking of all the funds Marcus and Emily had diverted. Being completely restructured, Helen confirmed. With full restitution to all affected organizations, plus additional donations as a gesture of good faith. My phone buzzed, a message from Marcus's father's old friend, Judge Harrison. Bail denied for both defendants. They'll remain in custody until trial. I showed the message to Helen, who nodded with satisfaction. Good. Let them experience some real consequences for once. Another message flashed, this one from a blocked number. Somehow, Emily had managed to get phone access. You think you've won? This isn't over. When I get out, forward that to the prosecutor, Helen advised. Every threat just strengthens our case. The day continued with a parade of meetings, damage control sessions with major clients, interviews with potential new executives, strategy discussions about the company's future. Through it all, I watched the business world's reaction to our story with a mix of satisfaction and vindication. Look at this. Sarah showed me her tablet during a brief break. On screen, a major business journal had published an in-depth analysis titled Corporate Crime and Family Betrayal, the Chen International Scandal. They're calling it a landmark case, she noted, setting new precedents for corporate accountability and whistleblower protection. Any comments from the happy couple? I asked dryly. Marcus tried to release a statement claiming temporary insanity due to workplace stress. Sarah rolled her eyes. His new lawyer pulled it immediately. And Emily? Still trying to play the victim card? But those recordings we found, the ones where she bragged about destroying careers, they're not helping her case. My phone lit up, with another update from the prosecutor's office. They'd found even more offshore accounts, hidden deeper than the ones we'd initially discovered. The amount of stolen money was staggering. They really thought they'd never get caught, James observed, reviewing the numbers. That they could just keep taking, keeping hurting people, and never face consequences. People like that always do, Helen said from the doorway. They mistake others' patience for weakness, their own luck for invincibility. The day wound down with a final meeting, this one with the company's largest shareholders. They'd called an emergency session to discuss the future of Chen International. The vote was unanimous, Richard announced afterward. The new leadership structure is approved, with additional oversight measures in place. And the PR strategy? I asked, thinking of all the media coverage. Transparency, Helen declared. We show exactly how we uncovered the fraud, how we're making restitution, how we're changing the company culture. No hiding, no spinning, just truth. As I packed up to leave, one last message came through, a joint statement from Marcus and Emily's legal teams. They were both pleading guilty to reduced charges in exchange for full cooperation. Fitting, Sarah commented when I showed her. They betrayed everyone else. Why not betray each other? Outside my office, the city lights sparkled against the darkening sky. In just a few days, everything had changed. The company, the family, the futures. Marcus and Emily had so carefully planned. Ready to go? James appeared at my door. Dad's called a family dinner, a real one this time. I gathered my things, taking one last look at the view. Somewhere in the Federal Detention Center, Marcus and Emily were learning the true cost of their actions. Their careers were over, their reputations destroyed, their freedoms soon to be forfeit. But here, in the company they'd tried to exploit, in the family they'd tried to deceive, something new was being built from the ashes of their betrayal. Something stronger, more transparent, more just. Yes, I said, turning off the lights. I'm ready. Because sometimes justice isn't just about punishment. It's about rebuilding, about creating something better from the wreckage of betrayal. And we were just getting started. 3 months after the anniversary party that changed everything, I stood at the podium in Chen International's newly renovated conference center, addressing a room full of employees, media representatives, and industry leaders. Today marks not just a new chapter for our company, I began, feeling Helen's approving gaze from the front row, but a complete transformation in how we do business. The events that brought us here were painful, but they taught us an invaluable lesson about transparency, accountability, and justice. The screens behind me displayed our new corporate governance structure, highlighting the changes we'd implemented since Marcus and Emily's arrest. Every department had been rebuilt from the ground up, with new safeguards and reporting systems in place. Ms. Chen, a reporter called out, any comment on yesterday's sentencing? The news was still fresh. Marcus and Emily had both received substantial prison terms, along with orders to pay millions in restitution. Their separate guilty pleas had turned into a bitter battle of mutual accusations, each trying to minimize their own role while maximizing the other's culpability. The court has spoken, I responded diplomatically. Our focus now is on making things right with everyone affected by their actions. Jessica Torres, now our creative director, took the stage next to present our rebranded marketing strategy. The confidence in her voice, the innovation in her ideas. Everything Emily had tried to steal and suppress now shone through clearly. "Remember when she used to tremble during presentations?" Sarah whispered beside me. When Emily would interrupt and take credit for her work? I did remember. Just as I remembered Michelle Chang's first day back as senior account executive, the way she'd hesitated before entering the building, as if expecting to find Marcus and Emily still lurking in the corridors. My phone buzzed quietly. A message from James. "Turn on Channel 7. They're showing footage from the sentencing." I glanced at the nearest monitor just in time to see Marcus being led away in handcuffs, his designer suit replaced by prison orange. Emily followed separately, her carefully maintained image finally crumbling as she faced the consequences of her actions. In addition to the criminal charges, the reporter announced, civil suits are pending from multiple former employees and defrauded charities. Sources say the total financial impact could exceed. Helen touched my arm, drawing my attention back to the present. "Your turn again, dear." I returned to the podium to introduce our new charitable foundation, one created specifically to support workplace harassment victims and corporate fraud whistleblowers. The irony wasn't lost on anyone that it would be partially funded by Marcus and Emily's seized assets. "From darkness, we create light," I quoted our new company motto. "From betrayal, we build trust." The rest of the day passed in a blur of meetings, interviews, and strategy sessions. The business world was watching our transformation closely, with many calling it a model for corporate reform. Late afternoon found me in what used to be Marcus's office, now converted into a collaborative workspace for our ethics compliance team. The view of the city remained spectacular, but the energy was entirely different. "Latest numbers from the audit," Lisa reported, spreading documents across the conference table. "Every fraudulent transaction identified, every stolen dollar traced. The restitution process is ahead of schedule." "And the employees?" I asked, thinking of all those whose careers had been damaged. "Most have accepted our offers to return. The new policies, the enhanced protections, it's making a difference. People feel safe here again." My phone lit up with another update, this one from the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. They'd uncovered even more of Marcus and Emily's hidden accounts, these containing funds stolen from other companies where they'd previously worked. "Their whole lives were a lie," James observed when I showed him the report. "Every success, every achievement, all built on fraud and betrayal." "Speaking of lies," Sarah entered with her tablet. "You should see Emily's prison interview. She's still trying to spin the story." We watched as Emily, barely recognizable without her expensive clothes and perfect makeup, attempted to paint herself as a victim of circumstance. "I was just trying to succeed in a male-dominated industry," she claimed. "Marcus manipulated me." "Funny." James muted the video. "That's exactly what Marcus said about her in his interview." "Let them keep blaming each other," Helen said from the doorway. "The truth has already won." The sun was setting as we gathered in Richard's office for our daily family meeting, a new tradition born from the ashes of betrayal. The old man looked more at peace now, the initial shock of his son's crimes replaced by a determination to make things right. "The board approved your proposal," he announced. "Full scholarships for business ethics studies, internship programs for at-risk youth, partnerships with anti-fraud organizations." Using their seized assets to prevent others from following their path, Helen nodded approvingly. "Perfect poetry." My phone buzzed one final time, a notice from the federal prosecutor. Marcus was attempting to appeal his sentence, claiming ineffective counsel. Beside it, a similar notice about Emily's separate appeal. "Still fighting each other," Sarah noted, reading over my shoulder. "Even in prison." "Let them." I closed the notifications. "We have more important things to focus on, because while Marcus and Emily's story was ending in federal prison, ours was just beginning. Every exposed lie had led to a new truth. Every betrayal to a stronger bond. Every scandal to a better system. To the future, Helen raised her evening tea in a toast. And to the family members who helped us find it. The city lights twinkled beyond the windows, a reminder of how far we'd come and how far we still could go. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth. It's using that truth to build something better than what was lost. And we were just getting started. 1 year after the anniversary party that exposed everything, I stood in my expanded office at Chen International, reviewing the latest company reports. The transformation we'd achieved was evident in every number, every metric, every success story. Final restitution payments have been processed, Lisa announced, placing a thick folder on my desk. Every person Marcus and Emily harmed has been compensated, every stolen dollar returned, every career they damaged restored. Through the glass walls, I could see the bustling activity of our rebuilt departments. Jessica Torres was leading a creative team meeting, her confidence now radiating as she presented innovative campaigns. Michelle Chang's laughter echoed from the account management division, where she'd just landed another major client. You should see this, Sarah entered, holding up her tablet. Forbes just published their annual Most Ethical Companies list. Guess who's in the top 10? The article praised Chen International's transformation, highlighting our new transparency initiatives and whistleblower protection programs. From corporate scandal to industry leader, the headline read, how one company turned betrayal into revolution. My phone buzzed with a message from James. Prison called. Marcus is requesting another family visit. Same answer as always? Sarah asked, seeing my expression. Same answer. I typed a brief response. He lost the right to family when he betrayed it. The last year had brought multiple such requests, first from Marcus, then Emily, each trying to manipulate their way back into the family's good graces. Their appeals had failed, their sentences upheld, leaving them nothing but time to contemplate their choices. Speaking of family, Helen appeared in the doorway, elegant as ever. Richard wants everyone in the main conference room. Time for the annual review. The conference room had been redesigned, like everything else in the building. Gone was the intimidating mahogany table, replaced by a more collaborative setup that encouraged open discussion. Richard Chen sat at the head, looking energized despite the challenges of the past year. 1 year, he began as we gathered. 1 year since we exposed the rot in our company and began to rebuild. The numbers tell quite a story. Indeed, they did. Profits up 40%. Employee satisfaction at record highs. Our new ethics training program being adopted by companies worldwide. The charitable foundation we'd created from Marcus and Emily's seized assets had already helped dozens of workplace harassment victims start over. But the real success, Helen added, isn't in the numbers. It's in the lives we've changed. My phone lit up with another update, this one from the federal prosecutor. Emily had attempted to write a tell-all book about the scandal, only to have it blocked by her own guilty plea agreement. Marcus, meanwhile, had tried to secure a reduced sentence by offering information about other corporate crimes, information that proved worthless. Still trying to scheme, James observed, reading the update. Even from prison. Old habits, Sarah shrugged. But they're not our problem anymore. The afternoon brought a parade of meetings with the people whose lives had been most affected by Marcus and Emily's crimes. Former employees sharing stories of recovery and renewal, charities reporting on programs restored and expanded, young professionals finding mentorship in our new corporate culture. Remember this? Lisa handed me an old company photo. Marcus and Emily standing prominently in the front, their secret smiles now obviously smug. Hard to believe we never saw it before. We saw it, I corrected. We just didn't want to believe it. Sometimes, the hardest truth to accept is the one right in front of us. My office phone rang, Helen's secretary. Mrs. Chen wants you to know there's a letter from the prison. Emily this time. Same response as always, I instructed. Return to sender. Because while Marcus and Emily wrote endless letters seeking forgiveness, making promises, offering explanations, we had moved forward. Their betrayal had taught us valuable lessons about trust, vigilance, and the importance of standing up for what's right. Final numbers for the Ethics Foundation, Sarah reported late in the day. We've helped over 100 whistleblowers start new careers, provided legal support for dozens of workplace harassment cases, created scholarship programs for business, ethics studies. All funded by their seized assets, James added with satisfaction, turning their greed into something positive. As the sun set over the city, I gathered with the family in Richard's office for our daily meeting. The tradition had become a symbol of our new transparency, our commitment to open communication and shared purpose. I received another call from Marcus's lawyer, Richard admitted. He's still trying to negotiate some kind of reconciliation. Some things can't be fixed, Helen said firmly. Some betrayals run too deep. My phone showed one final notification, a news alert about a prison interview Emily had given, still trying to rewrite history, still blaming everyone but herself. Let them keep trying, I closed the alert. We know the truth. And more importantly, we've built something better from their destruction. Because sometimes the greatest victory isn't in the exposure of lies, but in the truth you build afterward. In the lives you help heal, the systems you help reform, the changes you inspire in others. Marcus and Emily had tried to destroy what they couldn't control. Instead, they'd inadvertently sparked a transformation that made everything stronger, more transparent, more just. To the future, Helen raised her glass in our evening toast. And to the family we chose to become. Outside, the city lights sparkled against the darkening sky. A reminder that from the darkest betrayals can come the brightest opportunities for change. We had taken their scandal and turned it into revolution, their destruction into creation. And that was the sweetest revenge of all. Would you like me to summarize the key themes and elements that made this story work effectively? Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.